Imagine walking into a room for a huge job interview. You sit down, the hiring manager looks at you, and guess what? Before you've even said hello, they're already making a decision about you. It's true. Research actually shows that hiring decisions are heavily influenced within the very first few minutes of meeting. So your success doesn't start with the first interview question. It happens way before you even open the door.
So are you truly ready for the interview? Welcome to today's coaching session. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here because today we're making sure your answer to that question is a massive, confident yes. We're going to break down the exact prep strategies and body language techniques that top candidates use to completely stand out. And hey, if you're serious about improving your English for work and everyday life, consider subscribing to The English Effect. Every lesson we do is designed to help you communicate with a lot more confidence and professionalism.
All right, let's dive right in. We're starting with something I like to call the invisible foundation. This is all the behind-the-scenes work you do before anyone ever sees you. It's the kind of prep that gives you that unshakable confidence. Oh, and by the way, to help you master the business vocabulary and expressions we're going to cover today, make sure you download the free Vocabulary Companion workbook. You'll find the link down in the description. It's perfectly designed to reinforce everything you pick up in this lesson.
Section 1. The Foundation of Success.
Now, this is where we really shift our focus to deeply researching the company and decoding that job description. It is so much more than just skimming their website, right? It's about really understanding their world. Doing this builds your business acumen. That's a fantastic business English term that just means your sharpness and sound judgment in professional situations. You've got to do your desk research, gathering and analyzing info about the employer way before you ever talk to them. Dig into that job description, figure out their corporate culture, and identify the unique value you bring to the table. When you do all of this, you stop sounding like just another applicant and you instantly position yourself as the absolute ideal candidate.
Moving right along to Section 2, the silent communicator. Now we're transitioning from your invisible research to your highly visible presentation. Yep, your professional appearance and your body language. Just think about it. A massive amount of information is communicated simply by your appearance and how you carry yourself before you utter a single word. Whether you're meeting in person or online, dressing professionally visually tells them that you're a highly competent candidate. It says you have the ability and the skill to do the job. A good rule of thumb? Always assume business professional dress is required unless the employer specifically tells you otherwise.
So a huge part of this is exactly how you hold your body. Communication experts point out two very different postures here. First, there's the ideal neutral stance. This is where your weight is evenly distributed over your feet and your knees are straight but definitely not locked. It projects a really nice, calm authority. Then, you've got a stance playfully known as the I lean. This is when you lean unprofessionally onto one hip. Now, I know it might feel relaxed to you, but it actually takes away from your professional message and makes you look unprepared. So make sure to keep your weight shifted evenly.
Another really common pitfall has to do with your arms. Have you ever caught yourself making gestures where your elbows are tucked super tightly into your waist? Experts call those T-Rex arms. And trust me, it signals anxiety and a total lack of confidence. You really need to free your elbows. Keep them away from your body and use open, expansive gestures. Doing this makes you appear decisive, meaning you can make decisions quickly and effectively, and it shows that you're collaborative and completely open to new ideas.
And let's talk about hands, because they can feel so awkward when we're nervous, right? You definitely wanted to avoid what's called the fig leaf. That's when you fold your hands and place them defensively right in front of your groin area. You also want to steer clear of the prayer position, where your hands are clasped or steepled up in front of your face. Both of these accidentally broadcast that you're uncomfortable. But the fix is super simple. Just release your hands. Let your arms hang naturally and comfortably by your sides or rest them neutrally in your lap if you're sitting down.
Engaging your interviewer is really all about finding a good balance. You want to maintain intentional, sensitive eye contact to build a genuine connection, but you don't want to overwhelm them with a nonstop, intense stare. Remember to relax your facial expressions, and hey, don't forget to smile. Also, plant your feet. You want to avoid a nervous habit called the dancer. That's when you take constant, tiny little steps while you're talking. Just plant your feet solidly on the ground until you actually need to move. Section 3. The virtual shift.
Of course, not all interviews happen in an actual office building anymore. So let's go over some actionable steps for a flawless virtual setup. First things first, log into the platform at least 30 minutes early just to test your tech.
You also want to secure a totally neutral background that has zero visual or sound distractions. Make sure your lighting is in front of you. Definitely avoid having bright windows right behind you, or you're going to look like a dark, mysterious silhouette. And here's the ultimate golden rule for virtual interviews: look directly into the camera lens, not down at your screen. Staring into the lens is the digital equivalent of making strong, confident eye contact.
Let's actually tie all of this to a really powerful business English adjective, demonstrable. It means clear enough to be shown or proved. Everything from your clean virtual background, to your posture, to your professional tone of voice has to make your readiness demonstrable. You can't just tell an interviewer you're professional, you literally have to prove it to them visually and technically before they even ask that first question.
Section 4. The Voice of Confidence.
Okay, so once your invisible prep is done and your visible presence is totally polished, it's time to prove your value with absolute clarity and purpose. But right before we get into exactly how to structure your answers, I have a quick question for you. What interview question makes you the most nervous? Is it the classic, tell me about yourself? Or maybe the dreaded, what is your biggest weakness? I would seriously love to hear from you. Take just a second to pause and share your biggest interview challenge down in the comments below. Let's build a really supportive community right here.
Now, when you do have to answer those tough questions, the secret isn't to memorize robotic, rehearsed scripts. Instead, you want to use strong, strategic business English adjectives and then back them up with real examples. For instance, you could describe yourself as action-oriented, which means you're someone who's proactive and gets things done. Or maybe you say you're diligent, meaning you work carefully and consistently. But remember, if you use a strong word like action-oriented, you absolutely must have a real-life story ready to prove it.
And to tell that story effectively, you need the ultimate mental model, the STAR framework. When a hiring manager asks you a behavioral question, like tell me about a time you solved a problem, whatever you do, don't ramble and don't freeze up. Structure your answer using STAR. First, situation. Set the scene and present the recent challenge. Then, task. Explain what your specific target was. Next, action. Detail exactly what you did to fix it and why. And finally, result. Share the measurable outcome of your actions. Using this method keeps your English clear, focused, and just incredibly effective.
Section 5, the final polish. All right, we are in the home stretch now. Let's quickly round up the most critical pitfalls you absolutely have to avoid before stepping into that interview, whether it's physical or virtual. Keep these common mistakes in the back of your mind so you don't fall into the trap. Number 1, do not fail to research the employer. Your business acumen has to be demonstratable. Also, avoid that nervous, closed-off body language we talked about, like the T-Rex arms or the fig leaf. Never memorize exact word-for-word scripts. Memorize frameworks like STAR instead. And lastly, never forget to prepare some really thoughtful questions to ask the employer at the very end. Your goal is an authentic, well-prepared conversation, not a stiff, terrifying performance.
I really want to leave you with this final, powerful thought. Clarity and confidence matter a whole lot more than perfection. Employers aren't looking to hire a flawless robot. They're looking for a capable, prepared professional. If you apply these preparation and body language strategies, you are going to walk into your next interview completely ready for success. If you found this coaching session helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to The English Effect, and share it with someone who could use a little boost. And don't forget to grab your free vocabulary companion workbook using the link in the description. So as you step into that next interview, ask yourself, are you just showing up? Or are you showing them exactly why you're the one they've been looking for? Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next lesson.